Okay, so you're divorcing a narcissist, you're co-parenting or parallel parenting with a narcissist. That means that with some regular frequency, you are dropping your kids off or picking them up or somehow exchanging your children with this person. In today's video, I want to talk about the feelings that come with those transition times. Hey, I'm Via, and this is Case by Case Divorce, a channel that focuses on healing from the mental, emotional, and spiritual abuse and trauma that happen in a narcissistic divorce. In all of the women and clients that I talk to, this is a very real thing. So I just want to offer some validation and some reassurance for you, because the validation is a huge part of the healing when it comes to narcissistic abuse. The gaslighting and the projection are so intense and so constant, not just from your ex, but from the legal institutions, the policing institutions. Like, all of society is set up to be telling us that this isn't such a big deal, that we're making too much of it, that it's in the kids' best interest to spend time with these people. All of this stuff, it leads to mass confusion and self-doubt. And so I want to offer you the validation around feelings that can crop up for you and your kids during transition time. Transitions are when the children go from one household to the other. And ideally, if you're involved with a narcissist, this needs to be done with zero contact between you and them. So I have other videos about that. I'll link to them down below, but you want to set up some kind of transition point that's at school or at preschool or somewhere where you're not meeting them face to face. That's the best you can do there. But we're still going to have feelings around this. And for me and my family, what I've noticed happening is, a good day or two, or maybe even 3 days before the transition is going to happen, this low-lying anxiety starts to kick in. And it's usually in my youngest child first, and then we all kind of catch it. And it's this feeling, this worry, or the kids might ask a question like, how many more days until we have to go to dad's? How many more sleeps until we go there? And then how many days are we there for? And you can just feel it in the house and in the kids and in your own body. There's this, for me, it's like a tension in my stomach and a tightness through my chest. And it just feels like a constriction. And that's how I know, like, oh, I'm feeling these things in my body. There's feelings coming up that I need to deal with. The anxiety around dropping your kids off or transferring them over is real. And it's scary because we know, or we suspect, or it's happened before, so we have reason to believe that the kids are going to be neglected or have some kind of harm done to them, even if it's just a hurt feeling, which we know has serious impacts on brain development and all sorts of psychological things in the future. If you want to know how to mitigate the abuse your children are suffering at the other parent's house, I have a video for that too. I'll link to it down below. Check it out. Let me know what you think in the comment section. So we know that there's anxiety around the drop-off, but what I haven't heard anybody talk about, and what is hugely impactful for me and the clients that I work with, is the anxiety around you getting your kids back. The anxiety around the return of the children. And what I hear over and over, and what I've experienced in my own body and my own life, is that there's a huge amount of fear and anxiety and worry around how your kids are going to come home. They might be so dysregulated and exhibiting so many symptoms of abuse and stress and trauma. It's really quite mind-blowing. If you have a happy, well-adjusted kid, they go to the other parent's house for 4 days and they come home and they are wetting their pants or peeing the bed, or they are yelling, or they are screaming and having meltdowns, or they're breaking things, or they're hitting their sibling, or they're hitting you, or they're running away, or they're stealing, like the list goes on and on and on. And the experience for me and so many of us is that when our kids come home, they're all broken and dysregulated. And we do this massive detox and cleanup for them where, we help them process their feelings. We let them know that they're safe. We ride out their meltdowns. We don't punish them for the meltdowns. We understand that they're just overwhelmed in their feelings, and we help them name their feelings. We be there with them in their feelings. We redirect harmful behavior into safer behavior, all while still getting dinner, working, getting the homework done, cleaning everything up. And let's not forget, we're also having to regulate our own emotions in response to this, and work and school and everything else, so that we can be in a position to even support our kids. This is what we're doing. This is the reality of life as a single mom who's co-parenting with a narcissist. This is what it is. You hand your kids off, you get them back, they're all messed up. You clean them up psychologically, you clean them up emotionally, everybody gets back to balance, and then we set in with the anxiety about having to go back and do it all again. This is real. It's what is actually happening in my life and your life if you're watching this video. And I need to acknowledge for you how exhausting that is on an emotional, a physical, and a spiritual level. Essentially what's happening is you're living in a war zone. You're living a war. You're fighting an invisible war. You're fighting for your children's health and their happiness and their safety. And never mind your own. Usually that doesn't even enter into the equation, but maybe you've reached the point where you're also willing to consider like your own happiness, which is great. Yeah, you deserve to be happy too. Let's do it. This is real. It's actually happening. And if you're exhausted, and if you feel hopeless, and if you feel deflated, and if you feel like nothing you do is helping and nothing matters, that's why. It's because you're stuck in this cycle of cleaning your kids up and then handing them over to get them messed up again. Okay, so this is the problem. What do? We be compassionate towards ourselves. If you even for a minute think to yourself, oh, maybe I'm lazy. Maybe, I didn't get enough done this week. Oh, I should have done this and that. Stop yourself right there and remember these words that I'm saying right now. If you're single parenting kids through a narcissistic divorce, you're already doing the job of 5 people. If you didn't get the dishes done, or you missed some assignment at work or at school, you're still kicking ass at life. This stress and the lack of support from society and culture in general, and certainly from the legal system, which says it supports us but doesn't, you're on your own doing this. So give yourself some compassion and be super gentle with yourself. You're doing a great job. You have more on your plate than any person should ever be asked to handle, and you're doing it. The second thing we can do is find people to connect with that also understand this. People who don't understand narcissism are going to say stuff like, well, can't you just get along? Or I don't see what the big deal is. Just let him do what, or whatever. Find other people who have experienced this that you can share your stories with and gain validation. I also find it really helpful to use the name it to tame it idea, where I just call out to myself or to myself and the kids, hey, this is a really rough transition. You're really dysregulated, and I'm actually having a hard time holding my own grounding to hold space for you right now. So let's just get through this together as best we can. Or, wow, I'm really feeling that pit in my stomach or that tightness in my chest right now. I can feel the anxiety creeping in. So when we name it to tame it, we're doing 2 things. We're automatically giving our brains access to the part of the brain that can regulate and create healing. When we don't name it to tame it, if we're just like, I'm feeling anxious, what we're doing is actually creating more trauma in our brains and through our hormones. The other thing we're doing when we name it to tame it is we're modeling for our kids emotional intelligence, which is one of the tools and shields we can give them to protect them from the abuse and neglect that they experience at the other parent's house. So call out your experience. kids need to feel that you're in charge and that you are holding the container in a safe way. So, I don't recommend saying like, I'm losing it, I'm totally coming apart, but saying like, wow, I'm having a hard time this afternoon. This transition seems harder than other ones. Let's do what we can to get through this together. Or I'm going to go for a walk, or I'm going to take a bath, or I just need 5 minutes to do some journaling, or I'm going to have a cry right now because I have so many emotions. I just need to let them out. Any of those things are great. Model for your kids how to identify difficult feelings and be with them instead of shoving them away and ignoring them. I wish I had more solutions for you. What I really wish is that this was a magic wand and I could just wave it and make it so that children would automatically be placed in the most caring parents' care. But that's not where we're living right now, and that's not what's happening. So at least what I can offer you is a sense of validation and the sense of community that what's happening to you is real and that you're not alone. In those dark, dark moments where it just feels so helpless because you can't stop this. You can't stop it, and it keeps happening every week, and no one is listening to you, and you're not being heard, and your kids aren't being protected. You're not alone. I'm right there with you. All of my clients are right there with you. It can be helpful to share with each other. If you want to use the comment section down below to share your experiences or what you have found, please let's do that. I'd love to create a community around this. And if you found this content helpful, please let YouTube know that this is a good channel by clicking like, subscribe, or the notification bell. And I really hope this video helped you. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Take good care.